Hi, it's Heather with Running with Scissors, and today we are going to demonstrate how to do a glass and resin ornament. If you bought our glass and resin ornament from us, you got to this video with a QR code most likely. So this may be the kind of packaging that your ornament came in, and we're just going to walk you through the easy steps of creating this ornament. So just go ahead and open your box. You'll want to protect your work surface with maybe like a plastic table cover or a cardboard box or even a sheet of paper like we have. And you'll need a pair of scissors. So the first thing you're going to want to do is unpack your ornament kit. And you'll have a bag with some jute, a ribbon, and probably some beads in it. And you'll have another bag with some seed beads probably. Not all kits come with the seed beads, so don't panic if they're not in there. Your kit just did not come with it. You'll have a cup with a pair of rubber gloves tucked into it. You'll have a bag with 2 bottles of resin. One is marked B, one is marked A. This bag will also have a toothpick and a popsicle stick or some kind of wood stick in it. You'll have your cups of glass. Not all kits come with the same color or the same quantities, so your kit may vary. And then in the very bottom of the box, you'll have to move this crinkle shred, but in the bottom of the box, you'll have an adhesive sheet. So just set the box aside after you get it all unpacked. And we're gonna take this adhesive sheet and we're gonna peel that grid line backing paper off of it and expose just the plastic sheet itself. Now we want the grid line to go down and the sticky side to come up. And then we're going to take our ornament and we're going to put it on our sheet. It doesn't matter if it's straight or if it's on an angle. What we care about is getting all of these wells over top of the plastic so that nothing is left open. And then we're just going to push that ornament down onto that sticky sheet and just make sure you push all over so that it is stuck down. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to take your glass and you're going to shake your glass into the ornament. Now, if you get glass into pieces you don't want it, you can pick it out, or you can maybe take a pair of tweezers and pick it out with that. So we just take the whole cup and then we just start to shake it into the wells. You can use a toothpick if you want to help you push that glass around. But in the next steps, we'll also be pushing that glass where it needs to go. So don't worry if it doesn't get exactly where you need it. Now you might use all of the glass and you might not. And just because you don't use it all right now, doesn't mean you won't use it all in just a bit. I did get a piece of red glass in this well here. I'm just going to take that out real quick and drop it into the other one. And now I'm going to take my gold glass and I'm going to start dumping that into the other 2 wells. All right, now I've got a little bit left over. I'm just going to leave that. I might use it, I might not. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open my resin pack. And I'm going to remove the gloves from my cup. And I'm going to put the gloves on. Resin is sticky and it will come off your hands with acetone or a good scrubbing with soap and water. But if you can prevent it from getting on your hands, it's all the better. So we just use the rubber gloves. Now I'm going to start with part A. So it's the bottle with the A on it. And I'm going to remove the cap. And I'm going to pour A up to the 1/2 ounce line on my measuring cup. See, it's right there. There's a 1/2 ounce line. Let me see if I can get that in. There you go. You see that 1/2 ounce line? So put your cup flat. Pour your resin in. Now A is a lot thicker than B, so it might take a second to get that poured in there. You have exactly a 1/2 ounce in each of these bottles. Just So it may take just a second to get all of that out of there. If you find that you're not quite getting a 1/2 ounce, you just want to make sure that when you pour part B in, you're pouring the same amount. So if you only, let's just keep it simple when it comes to fractions, but if you only are able to pour to the 1/4 ounce line, then when you put part B in, make sure you only pour up to 1/2 ounce, which 1/4 and 1/4 equals a 1/2, right? You do have a 1/2 ounce though. And then now I'm going to pour in part B. And when I measure my part B, I want to make sure that I'm looking at my measuring cup eye level. Like I'm not above my measuring cup looking down. I want to make sure that I'm eye level with the 1/2 ounce line so I can see where my measurement goes. So now this one we're going to pour up to the 1 mark because a 1/2 plus a 1/2 is 1. And now B, like I said, is a little bit thinner, so it pours a lot faster and it's easier to get out of the bottle. And there we have. Now that is our resin mixture, and now we have to stir it to combine both parts A and B. So set yourself a timer on your phone or watch the clock for about 2 minutes. Now we're going to stir this with the popsicle stick, and we're going to stir around in a circle, scraping the edges of our measuring cup. And we're going to make sure that we're pulling the bottom to the top and then the top going to the bottom. So it's going to be hard to see. I'm going to try to tip it just a little bit without spilling it, but you can sort of see the difference in the colors of the resin. It's a little cloudy right now, and it's combining those two parts, that part A and that part B together. So we're just going to stir gently. We don't want to stir vigorously, no more than what I'm stirring right now. We don't want to whip it. We just want to stir it. Make sure you scrape those edges really well and that you're bringing the bottom to the top and then vice versa here. You will have some bubbles, but not a ton, and it won't make much of a difference. So don't really stress those bubbles at all. Right, at the end of your 2 minutes, your mixture should appear slightly clear, mostly clear, with just, you're gonna have some bubbles in it. Again, don't worry about the bubbles. But if you looked at your mixture when you first started and you started stirring it together, it was pretty cloudy because of the two parts combining. And at this stage, your mixture appears like both parts have fully combined, even if you have some bubbles in there. Okay, so now we're going to bring our ornament back in front of us, and we're going to take our stick and we are going to drizzle the resin into our ornaments. We want to make sure that we're getting close to the edge, but we don't want to go outside of the edge of the ornament. And we don't want to just dump the resin into the ornament either, because that's messy and we want it to stay nice and clean and neat. And don't worry if you get resin on the wood frame of the ornament, that's okay. It's almost impossible to prevent from doing that, so don't stress that too much. All right, once you've got a good amount of resin in there and you think you've got it covered, just set your resin cup to the side. You'll probably have to come back to it in a minute to add some more. But now we're going to take the toothpick and we're just going to punch this glass down, making sure that we are mixing that resin into all those small bits of glass. And then we're going to be able to move our glass into the corners of our wells where we have poured the glass. And it's a good opportunity at this time, if you weren't able to get any glass in this small section of the ornament, that you push the glass over to there as well. Now your hands will stick to that adhesive backer, or your gloves will stick to that adhesive backer. So you might want to just try to grab the top of the ornament with your gloved finger to move it around. Again, you're just going to punch with the toothpick to make sure that resin is coating all of those bits of glass and that it's moved all the way to the edges of the ornament. Now I can see that this well needs some more resin. Remember, we're going to rely on the resin to hold the glass into each of these ornament sections. So we want to make sure we have enough resin in there. We don't want it overflowing, but we want to make sure we have enough. And making sure that all of the resin is coating the glass pieces. Now I'm going to come back and I'm just going to put a little more resin in there. I'm going to do it for each section. And then I feel like this well needs a little bit more glass, so I'm just going to dump a little bit more glass in there. And I'm going to punch it down with my toothpick again. All right. I am satisfied with the amount of glass that's in each of my resin, or I'm sorry, in each of my sections. So I'm not going to put any more in, but I do want to add some of my beads. So I'm just going to take my bag of beads and open it, and I'm going to dump them out into my little lid here, and hopefully they all land there. And I'm going to put some of the red in the yellow, or the gold, and some of the gold into the red sections. Okay, I'm going to take my toothpick and I'm going to attempt to move this one up into the yellow section, or the red section. So now I'm just going to take my toothpick and I'm just going to make sure that those beads are sitting in that resin, so that resin is able to stick to them and keep them where I put them. Okay, so there's your ornament. Now we have to wait. So about 12 to 24 hours from now, this will be all set up. So you're just going to let this sit overnight until 12 or 24 hours has lapsed, and you can peel this piece off of the back of it. When you are peeling the back off of that, if it seems like it is still soft, if the resin seems soft, then just wait a little bit longer. 24 hours is plenty, but if you peel it before 24 hours, that's what you want to look for. This resin should be nice and hard, and this should just peel off very, very simply. So we have to wait, let that sit up, and then we'll come back and we'll finish the rest of this. Now, to discard the extra resin, you can see I have about a ½ ounce of resin left over. So you really only need about a ½ ounce total to do one of these ornaments. If you just let this sit right alongside your ornament until tomorrow, this will be all hardened up, and then you can throw it away. And you can save your extra glass if you would like to for another project, and same with your beads. And just the A and B bottles, you can just throw those in the trash as well. All right, so we'll finish this video just as soon as our resin is hardened in about 24 hours. Okay, so it's been about 24 hours since we made our ornament, and we are going to take and peel the adhesive backing paper off, and we're just going to peel it just like that, and then that is garbage, so we'll throw that away. And now we're going to finish the ornament with the ribbon and the bead. So we're going to open our little bead bag here and pull out its contents. And we're going to take our ribbon hanger and we're going to fold it in half. And we are going to take our beads and string our beads on. Just push that loop through the bead hole. And the same with the second one. And then we're going to take the loop and push it through the hole of the ornament. And then we're going to open that up and grab all of that, the beads and the tails. And then we're going to pull that tight. That's called cow hitching. We don't want to work it too tight yet. We still got to get our ribbon in there. So we're just going to work with this loose like this right now. I'm going to loosen that back up just a little bit. We're going to take our ribbon and we're going to make a loop. And then we're going to cross this over and make another loop, just like that. So very simple. There's no tying here at all. We're just taking an end and folding it over to make that loop, taking the other end and folding that over to make that loop. And then we're going to feed all of one side through this lark's head knot right here. So through this area here. We're just going to feed that into there. Easier said than done sometimes. Just like that. And don't worry if your bow looks kind of crazy right now. That's all right. It's going to look a little crazy for a minute until we get it situated. So now we're going to tighten that lark's head knot up. Just wiggle it back and forth till it tightens up tight. And then we will move our ribbon around to get it into shape. And then tighten. Once you get your ribbon where you want it, then tighten that lark's head knot down real tight and push those two beads down onto it. And then come to the end and tie an overhand knot, just like that. And you can adjust that knot how high you want that string to hang. Tighten that knot down and then just trim those ends off. And there you have your glass and resin ornament. Good job. We hope you had fun.